Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anson and Paul's Big Movie Podcast. I'm Anson Chan.
I'm Paul Morgan.
And today we are reviewing Fury.
And Dallas Buyers Club.
Yes, sir. Paul, what do you want to start with today?
Let's start with Dallas Buyers Club.
Sure. Should I?
So,
okay, you go.
I think I'll go for it.
Let's go.
Dallas Buyers Club is a 2013 movie directed by Jean-Marc Vallée. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably am not. Starring Matthew McConaughey, Jennifer Garner, and Jared Leto, including the likes of Dallas Roberts, Steve Zahn, and Dennis O'Hare. It is based on the true story of a dude named Ron Woodruff, who was diagnosed with AIDS and given a very small amount of time to live, who did his own research on what sort of shit would help out with alleviating the symptoms of AIDS, and started a club for people who wanted to take said shit. And it's he lives with a transgender woman named Rayon, who is played by Jared Leto. And
that was Jared Leto.
Yep, and Rayon and him live a weird, odd couple sort of life where they're very at odds personality-wise and politically, and yet they work together very well. So that is my assessment of the plot of Dallas Buyers Club. Is there anything I missed?
No, I don't think so. Maybe that he has to keep fighting the system to get the life-saving drugs that he needs and fight against the system.
FDA definitely keeps trying to shut him down. I think one of the things I like most about this movie, and not to inject too much of my personal views into it, is that it does legitimately show how regulation of a free market can harm the participants in that market, which I think is very interesting. Because Ron Woodruff's club members are literally being harmed by the fact that they're not allowed to use these drugs that the federal government decides are not approved.
And not only that, but they are also pushing that drug that kills
that
more
really
people.
hurts people. Yeah. So, Anson, what did you like about this movie?
I knew nothing about this movie coming in. I really enjoyed the plot. I was surprised when he was diagnosed with AIDS. I seeing it in the very beginning, I thought, wow, this dude is gaunt. You know, Matthew McConaughey just lost so much fucking weight for this role.
Oh, yeah. He looked insane.
He looked super sickly.
Oh, yeah.
I think the character growth and development was interesting. I thought Jared Leto's performance was very good. I really like,
especially now that you know it's Jared Leto.
I had no idea. I was going to say that one dude.
AKA the Joker from Suicide Shitty Squad.
Basically, yeah. I was going to say, I have no respect for him until, well, Dallas Buyers Club. But the scene where, I'm going to spoil it, when Jared Leto's character dies in the hospital, I thought was really touching. He was, that moment just before they take him to the hospital, he's just like, I don't want to die. It was just like, oh, man.
Yep.
It's brutal, bro. So I quite liked that. I thought it was a bit refreshing seeing Matthew McConaughey's character just being a blatant homophobic guy, like really anti-homosexual. Like, I don't see that in movies ever. Like, anyone just like... It's like if you see a movie and like you just see people just like blatantly racist towards black people. I wouldn't say that's refreshing, but you don't see that, right? You also don't see that type of behavior towards gay people in movies normally. But it was also nice seeing his growth, changing from just being a complete gay bashing homophobic guy to like someone who can respect them, and his, like I said, his transgender roommate. Very interesting growth, because it felt very real, the vitriol that Matthew McConaughey brought when calling them like slurs. I won't go ahead and say that on air, but it added a lot of realism to, I think, his character in the movie.
Yeah, I remember when this movie came out, and a lot of my friends on Facebook posted things like, it's nice that he did all these things to help people, but, like, I can't believe we made a movie glorifying this, like, homophobe. And I was like, dude, that's the point. That's why it's an interesting story, because at the beginning he fucking hates these people, and
Yeah.
then he comes around at the end. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
They
know.
all they all learn to respect each other. Like,
Yeah, it's like that doesn't make the homophobia okay, but it makes it interesting, and like it makes his turn from away from that into a more interesting, plot device. And the fact that that is, based on something real is kind of cool.
the fact that he was also marginalized in the way that the homosexuals are was very interesting because he had to deal with the stigma
Yeah.
of even just being, having AIDS, obviously, and then also the association or the suspicion that maybe he was gay, and that
Yeah.
kind of turns him around to the way he treats them as well, just by living with the transgendered character. It was like a really nice turn, and then the transgender character, when he has that moment with his dad, the financier
Oh
or the
my
banker or
god,
whatever.
that was an insane scene, dude.
What a nice scene! Like, wow,
Oh yeah.
that was so interesting. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's very captivating, very emotional, and it's I don't know if it's a scene that'll stick with me, but I might think of it. It's certainly a
Yeah.
very touching moment.
Oh yeah.
I think the atmosphere and the pacing of the movie were very excellent. I was taken on that journey, if you will, and it didn't really feel like the full length of the movie, which I believe was over 2 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me double check on that. It's 2 hours, so
Exactly 2 hours. Wow.
yeah. So it didn't feel like 2 hours to me. I think the setting in which it took place was also very interesting.
Yeah.
Were they in Texas?
Yeah, in Dallas.
Yeah. I thought that was an interesting kind of like, you don't see that part of the country in movies so much, or of that era either.
Sure.
So that was an interesting kind of like immersion kind of thing. Just in, I guess, the technology of the time, the airline regulations, and the border
Oh my
the
god.
border regulations was very entertaining to see.
That's like watching No Country for Old Men, and you see like this guy cross the border with a huge thing of money.
I can't give
completely-
out that information.
Yeah, it's like, man, the borders have not been like that since I can remember, for sure.
Yeah, I just got back from Japan as well, and when he flies to Japan and they show like old Tokyo or like an 80s Tokyo. By the way, it's
Yeah.
still very much like that though. Like their style hasn't changed.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I love that style.
Yeah, and I really respect the idea of this movie, which is like anti-pharma, kind of, medicine. Doctors are
Yeah.
quacks. I can get behind that.
Especially because it kind of reveals the strength. I mean, for those people who don't already know, it reveals the stranglehold that pharmaceutical companies have on the regulation of drugs.
Yeah, and also just kind of the... if one was conspiratorially minded, one could glean a lot from this movie in that maybe they were pushing the kill all the people with AIDS drug intentionally, but who knows? But I am a known
Dude, I would
conspiracy
be
theorist.
very interested to dive into that conspiracy at some point.
Yeah.
Not on the podcast, but I would love to read more about people who feel that way and what sort of... Because, some conspiracies you think about and you think about and you think about and nothing happens. And then other conspiracies, they come true. Like there was that CIA agent who at one point said, well, we knew if we associated black people with heroin on the news and we associated hippies with weed on the news, then black people and hippies would lose, public credibility or like as groups, and we could, kind of keep them down. So, for every conspiracy theory that you ponder about, there's one that's been admitted to by the people maybe doing them. I don't know.
No, yeah. And this has a much larger implication of like, we're actively trying to eliminate this population kind of thing. In
For
very
sure.
much the same way of like the Tuskegee experiments.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting, like I said, quote unquote conspiratorial idea or a theory, if you
Yep.
will. But yeah, I that's just about it. I mean, I like the entire movie. Paul, what else did you like about the D Buyers Club?
I think probably my favorite thing, and the thing that I think it really deserves accolades for, is the acting. Matthew McConaughey lost how many pounds to play this role, and Jared Leto lost how many pounds, and affected his mannerisms so much. I think the acting is absolutely fantastic, and I believe that it won a couple of Oscars. Yeah, McConaughey and Jared Leto both won Oscars for this movie for acting.
It's always very impressive when they take it upon themselves to like change themselves physically for a role.
Yeah, that's something that's an aspect of acting that I actually really enjoy. I'm not like an actor necessarily, but I have acted in my life. And I remember a couple times I really like got into changing myself to look a different way for something. It was a blast, dude. Like
Hmm.
it's so much fun like seeing what you can accomplish if you have like a clear set of goals, I guess.
Hmm.
So acting was very good. A lot of the moments I thought were really, really touching. Like the moment you mentioned with Jared Leto's character Rayon and her dad. That was just really great. When McConaughey first has the conversation with that other doctor who tells him about what AZT does or whatever. The guy
Hmm.
who's like, well, this basically kills,
The
every...
dude in Mexico.
Yeah, like this guy kills every cell it comes in contact with. Like, that's not... I don't know. I thought that moment was great. Like, the acting and the little kind of, like, writing moments I thought were great. Like you, I enjoyed the pacing, the editing. Yeah, this is kind of a movie that just 100% worked for me. So, kind of tough. Is there anything that you... was there anything that you didn't work for you that you didn't enjoy? Maybe enjoy is the wrong word.
Well, yeah. I guess it's not like it didn't work for me, but in the beginning we see Matthew McConaughey fucking a whole bunch of hookers, right?
That we do.
In the bullpen, at home with his buddy, the cop. It's never really addressed like, so I wonder if you got your hooker friends and your friends by proxy AIDS.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And that's kind of just like brushed under the rug
Yeah,
because it's like,
because it's like, nowadays we know via like TV shows and comedy and, just talking to people, like, if you find out you have something, you like call people and have them
you have
check
to,
themselves.
yeah, you have to man up and just be like, hey.
Yeah, like that's like
So,
the good thing to do. And so I think maybe that's kind of another reinforcement that Ron Woodruff's character is not necessarily a great guy. That plus the homophobia plus the general buffoonery, I guess.
yeah. Well, there's one thing I also want to mention I forgot to say that I liked really quick,
Yeah.
which is in the beginning, you see him working on like an oil derrick or like around there, and he's like an electrician for the oil companies. One of the illegals gets his like leg jammed in a derrick, and it's up to Matthew McConaughey to shut it down and turn it off and get him out. And he's telling them that like we need to get this guy to a hospital, and then the manager's like, oh fuck, or the foreman is like, really, like, is there anything else we can possibly do because he's illegal, right? It's like, just fucking call the ambulance. Right there, you see just a little bit of like, he's not a completely immoral bastard.
Yeah.
Although he has very rednecky and discriminatory tendencies, he still is like, he's still a human being.
Yep.
And that was a really nice little, just a little tidbit going that shows like, this is the type of guy that you're seeing.
Yep.
This is the type of guy we're going to be following around. It was nice. It was a nice way to get to know the character. I think the doctor, his doctor friend,
Yeah.
I think her acting was a little bit flat for me.
Jennifer Garner.
She always had like, I'm super duper concerned face, and that was like the face she always had walking around the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm not stepping on anyone's toes here, but Jennifer Garner is not always an actress that really works for me. A lot of her acting feels flat in the way it does in this movie, and I'm starting to wonder if that's like a a common thread. Like, I think there's a certain character type she's really good at, but other than that, I think her acting maybe falls kind of flat.
I thought it was very flat in this movie. I kind of wish, I guess they really didn't have to, but I wanted to see more about like how he got his drugs from overseas, or who his like. I wanted to see his supply line, his logistics for how he got the drugs into the country.
Yeah.
I guess you can't really, in good taste, do that because that might cause problems with the actual FDA. Or
Yeah.
like, it getting censored.
It makes me think of like a Breaking Bad type scenario, like when you're watching Breaking Bad, like, are they really giving you all the steps and ingredients to make methamphetamines? Like, that's a crazy,
awesome.
you know, obviously they wouldn't be allowed to do that. But that's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe like put a false step in there, but just show us all the rest of it.
Yeah, or do you remember American Gangster with the black guy? What's his name? Denzel, old Denzel. And he goes to Vietnam and like, quote unquote, cuts out the middleman.
Yeah.
To get the heroin like straight from the source.
Yeah.
That was like a nice little way of showing like they do the same thing in this movie as well, but they focus more in this movie on his supplying his customers as well as himself. Like more is focused on the economics of his system than American Gangster, which is more about the character and him living the high life, or like living the mafia life. So I wanted to see a little bit more of the logistics. That's for me as like, I don't know, a guy who's actually like literally curious about like logistics in all senses. Like, I wonder how the spaghetti gets to my table sort of way.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that would like appeal to the mass audience or even like those that enjoyed this movie.
I mean, I think it would definitely appeal to me. I feel like I would love to see him, you know, like researching what laws there are in other countries and like figuring out, you know, ways around what security he had to go through at every, you know, step of the way.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been fascinating. It would have been like an Ocean's 11 type.
There was that moment in Mexico where he's in the butterfly den in the doctor's office because he was just being told that this such and such is derived from like the caterpillar, right? And it kind of like helps people. I don't remember like exactly the science or the wording. But then, like, he sneaks off. It's a very symbolic moment where he finds himself in, like, the butterfly room, the symbolizing of the metamorphosis he has or whatever. But that was also alluding to the making of that drug that they were just discussing, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that kind of shit was actually manufactured. I guess it's not important. But like I said, out of my own curiosity for how it's made, I wanted to kind of see that. But I don't know. I guess that...
No, I mean, I would have liked to have seen something like that too, especially because I feel like one of the kind of cool things about the doctor in Mexico is he does have like the job training and the know-how to do that with like relatively fewer resources than like a giant pharmaceutical company, you know?
Yeah, and he was like the initial guy who like got Matthew McConaughey's character hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
So he has his own sources too.
Yeah.
But I guess the whole focus would have changed and the mood would have changed if they would have spent too much time on the here's the doctor getting his, here's Matthew McConaughey getting his drugs. Yeah. I guess that would be deleted scene stuff that I'd be interested in seeing.
Sure. But yeah, I would love to have seen something like that too. I believe, I mean, this could be a really stupid assertion, but I thought this was based on a book. Oh, no. So the screenwriter interviewed Ron Woodruff. So I thought, I mean, it would have been cool if there was like a tell-all book that like went into more detail.
I'm surprised he lived that long too.
1992, yeah, 7 years after his diagnosis. That's pretty insane, especially in those days.
Mm-hmm. Just on vitamins.
Yeah.
It's like even today, doctors tell you that like, oh, vitamins are hocus pocus. You know, or it's like, you know, you can take them if you want. I mean, there's no real proof that it does anything.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. Was there anything that didn't work for you, Paul, in this movie?
Like I said, I mean, I feel like I said it in the absolute rudest possible way, but Jennifer Garner's acting felt a little bit flat to me.
Her character herself felt a little flat too, or like...
Yeah, they didn't really write a lot
like,
into her. She was more just like something for Ron to relate to.
And then she just had like point A to point B to point C to point D, kind of like,
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is wrong, but I'm just going to sit idly by while you do it. I'm not going to not refer my patients to you.
Yeah.
And then eventually I'm going to start leaving pamphlets out, and then I'm going to get fired, and then I'm going to become friends with, like, Matthew McConaughey. It didn't really progress naturally, in my opinion.
Sure.
For her. Do you feel the same way?
No, that definitely resonates with me. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's the one. That kind of sticks out like could have used a little bit of tweaking to make it perfect for me.
Yep. I don't know why they do that to some characters sometimes.
It almost, to me, makes me wonder. The transgender guy's character was written so well. The cop's character was written well. Matthew McConaughey's character was written well. And hers was not written well. If she just didn't get enough time or focus to make her character anything important, or if, I don't know, something doesn't add up, right?
Yeah.
Because if they have 2 or 3 really good character development or character stories, how come that one was just so blatantly weak?
Yeah, I couldn't say, honestly.
Do you feel the same way, that it was very weak?
Yeah, I especially because there were so few characters in the movie, it seems like it should have been stronger.
Well, was there anything else that did not quite?
Other than that, I thought, I just really enjoy this movie. I enjoy is a bad word because it's just kind of a sad movie, but I enjoy the heart at the heart of it. Yeah, there's nothing really that worked for me. So, that didn't work for me besides that. So would you recommend this movie?
I would only recommend this movie to fans of art house. This is not a general audience type of movie.
Yep. This is about the craft.
I could see people being very turned off by not only the content, the story itself is about, even though the guy himself doesn't have homosexual, like he's not a homosexual, he hangs around with a lot of gay people.
Yeah.
And it also sheds light on a very uncomfortable subject, which is AIDS and HIV and the epidemic.
So what you're saying is this is not for middle America.
Yeah. Definitely not. I know a lot of people, like a lot of my friends, would just not want to see this movie for that reason alone. I also think that even if people were open to that, I think the slow nature might turn people off because it's kind of like, might put people to sleep.
Yep.
But if you're into like I said, the craft of the movie.
Oh yeah. Fantastic flick, dude.
And if that kind of story doesn't turn you off, yeah, I'd recommend it. Paul, what about you? Would you, I know you recommend this movie, right?
I would probably just blanketly recommend it. I think,
You would tell your racist redneck friends,
yes,
to go watch Dallas Buyers Club. Really?
Yes, I would, because I think
bold.
If you can, here's the thing: there are fucking gay people. AIDS was a thing that happened and is still happening. There are transgender people. If you can't handle fucking watching a 2-hour story about them, how are you ever going to be able to humanize them in your own lives? You gotta grow as a person your whole life long. I'm sure there was a time when I was a little kid or something when I would have repeated a gay slur or something. And now, who gives a shit, man? People are individuals, and they're all wonderful at some level or another. If you cannot handle a movie with gay people in it, I don't want to be your friend. That's what I would say to one of my conservative friends. And I would also say, think about this for the pro-conservative arguments it makes about the benefit of a free market, the dangers of overregulation, the dangers of allowing private companies to interfere in regulation.
I think this is one of those convenient moments where they'd be like, yeah, but in this case that works for us, they might say.
Well, those people are fucking intellectually dishonest, and I don't want to be friends with them then.
It's like those people who are like very much about like, I want my freedom of privacy, but if we're trying to like catch a terrorist, I want you to break into their iTunes account.
See, that kind of intellectual dishonesty to me is tantamount to treason against logic, I guess. It's like,
Because, well, it's just totally self-serving.
It's intellectually dishonest. Like, if you believe that we should have privacy, we should have privacy. You know, if you believe that all men are created equal, all men are fucking created equal, and everyone is an individual who, until he breaks, you know, from, like, the social contract or the non-aggression principle or whatever, deserves all the rights and considerations of an individual. It's like, I would consider myself a conservative. I have a lot of liberal point of views, but I rationalize them from conservative points of view, and I think that's what being an intellectually honest conservative is about. Is like, you have to give your wanted rights and your considerations to every fucking human being, regardless of anything. And if, you know, I know we started on would I recommend this to my racist or homophobic redneck friends, and that's how we got here, but like, if my racist or homophobic redneck friends couldn't understand where I'm coming from when I say all of that, and when I, you know, I don't know, then I probably wouldn't want to have them as a friend, honestly.
Tough words from Paul Morgan.
Tell me I'm wrong. We have to be intellectually consistent,
racist
I think.
Conservatives out there? No, I agree. It's like the people who are like, yeah, police abuse is terrible, but as quietly as it's kept, when they think it in the back of their minds, when it's happening to a minority, this kind of works for
exactly,
me, the white person,
dude.
or the white conservative, or
I
even
hate
the white
that.
liberal.
No, it's
hashtag.
conservatives and liberals alike. It's that attitude is absolutely repugnant, dude. I do not understand how people cannot be intellectually consistent in that regard.
That goes back to the whole systemic XYZ, or systemic
You gotta
discrimination. In the case of Dallas Buyers Club, it was systemic discrimination to
sufferers of AIDS.
The sufferers of AIDS and the homosexual community. And then what I just brought up was, you know, to the minorities, and especially the black community.
Very similar circumstances, though.
Yeah, I think that's just... there's a lot of parallel in those two, because it just reflects our society as a whole, I think, and our belief system.
Whatever benefits me is okay, as long as I'm not getting hurt. Yeah.
The shaft.
A little bit disappointing, but that's life. A nation's future is decided by its people, so once people start growing up, maybe we'll have something good going on. I don't know. That got political for a second. I apologize.
I'm
a proud conspiratorial theorist kind of guy, so, you know, whatever.
I am a proud... I don't know. I find myself an upstanding moral citizen, so I don't mind espousing my beliefs from time to time.
I like to think I truly believe in what I'm talking about most of the time.
Same.
But anyways, so yes, I would recommend this movie. If you don't like a movie about gay people, don't fucking watch a movie about the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah, I still would not recommend this to my homophobic, racist, conservative friends.
Oh man. Yeah. So now we move on to David Ayer's 2014 war flick, Fury.
Oh boy, and it has pretty decent ratings. It's pretty good ratings.
That
across
it
the
does. Anson, tell us about Fury.
Fury, the 2014 movie starring Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, Logan Lerman, Michael Pena, and John Bernthal. It's about a tank crew in World War II. The film opens up with Brad Pitt riding a white fucking stallion in the middle of a battlefield, killing Nazis with I think his bare hands.
He tackles that guy off his horse and then stabs him in the face, which is great.
For fuck's sake. He and his crew of tank people have just suffered a casualty where their machine gunner dies and is replaced by some accountant motherfucker who they said, okay, now just go be a machine gunner.
Can we just comment real quick on how similar that is to the phenomenon of Corporal Upham in Saving Private Ryan?
Oh, is that what happened?
Similar situation. They snag this young kid off of translator duty, and he ends up being...
But it's helpful to have a translator.
No, for
like,
sure,
with
but
you
I'm saying
in
it's
the
a very
field.
similar situation. He was like typing and stuff when they find him, and they put him in the middle of all this shit, and he can't really handle it. So, very interesting.
Okay. That's interesting you say that, because Pat was telling me that like that was very much like Saving Private Ryan 2 with the same guy, but he didn't go into that
Well, have
detail.
you seen
But
Saving
now that
Private
makes
Ryan?
way more sense. Oh, of course. I've seen it a
Okay,
couple
so
times.
yeah,
a few times.
it's just that
been
in
a long
Saving
time.
Private Ryan, Corporal Upham never gains any sort of courage. He stays this sort of wuss, and he lets that one other guy die. And in this movie, obviously, there's a little bit of a character turn there.
Okay. I was thinking about all the things that I wanted to say about that, but we're still in the synopsis phase. So this Corporal Upham-ish character, played by, is it
Logan Lerman.
Logan Lerman? Yeah, by Logan Lerman, is thrown into the chaotic and bloody battlefield against the Nazis and has to take lives that he's otherwise unwilling to take, and is propelled into being a quote-unquote war hero after a great battle in which he and his team take the lives of hundreds of Nazis. That's the fucking plot. Paul, what did you like about Fury?
Okay, so I want to say I didn't like this movie, but I didn't dislike it. Does that make sense?
It does, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay, good. So I love the opening scene where it's just some Nazi soldier riding his horse, hanging out. Brad Pitt just fucking jumps out the tank and just stabs the shit out of him. I just like immediately it was like, oh, this is going to be a very brutal movie. It's going to be very the hardness of war, the gruesomeness. So pretty much what I liked were small little moments. I'm going to name a couple of them.
Sure.
So like I said, the gruesomeness was one of the highlights. When the guy who was on fire shot himself in the head.
I like that
was
too.
That was an amazing moment of just like uncanny brutality.
That's something I've never seen before.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow, this is fucked up. I like it. Good
That's
work.
pretty creative.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and then
I've been thinking about this for a war movie forever. So a guy's on fire, right? And it's like, actually, that's I've never seen it.
oh man, so good.
Yeah.
The first tank battle, when they had to go up against those anti-tank guns and then against the tanks, I thought that was pretty well done. I loved the shot choice in that. I loved the sound design, especially the sound of the rounds whistling through the air. That was very interestingly done sound design, especially because I rented this on iTunes and I was watching it with headphones. So like the sound was just going like I don't know. The sound design in this was amazing. I really loved the part after the tank battle where he makes Logan Lerman's character get out of the tank and shoot the German soldier in the back.
Interesting.
That was just, oh man, that was such like a reinforcement of like the tribal the tribal attitude that war imbues a lot of people with. This movie it seemed very war glorifying to me, but also trying to show the brutality of it at the same time. I also like the scene where Brad Pitt asks the old man in the town, where are the German soldiers? And the old man like points towards the building and then his head just gets lopped off by a bullet.
Man, okay.
Oh man, that was a hilarious little moment.
2 or 3 of the things that you've already just said were things that I take issue with, but keep going.
Oh man, they're hilarious moments. What are you talking about? I loved. Okay, so you know how they went into that German lady's house, and they had that weird, very weird scene that I did not
scene.
like.
It was.
It makes me that scene makes me very uncomfortable.
Oh wait, I liked it when it was just the two of them. I hated it.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was great. Once John Bernthal came in, it was a nightmare.
I agree. Fuck him as an actor.
Scene, oh man, after that scene, there was that artillery barrage that hit them in that little town and destroyed the building and killed the lady and everything. That artillery barrage I thought was very well done as well.
You think so?
The sound design was great. The shot choice, where it kind of shows how much of the town it can take out with a single shell. I thought that was really really fun.
Interesting. Okay, I might be really jaded to the war stuff then.
Well, also, I mean, I've not seen a lot of good war movies. I don't think there are a lot of good war movies. I made a note that my boy Brad's always got to be shirtless in at least one scene, because that was hilarious.
Oh yeah, when they needlessly have him washing his hair.
Yep, did not need that part, but I just thought that was funny, so I noted it. And then just like the editing and pacing in the battle scenes, I thought was relatively decent. I'm going to exclude the last battle scene from that comment, though.
Okay.
But yeah, those are the things I liked. Acting was kind of tepid for me, except for Logan Lerman's character.
What? You didn't just love Shia LaBeouf? You didn't think he was like Oscar nominated, worthy, best actor?
Didn't quite do it for me.
What? I'm just kidding.
I mean, I didn't think he was bad. I didn't think he was bad.
He was serviceable, but everyone was serviceable.
It worked. Yeah, but yeah, those are what I liked. What did you enjoy about this movie?
Okay.
You just say nothing.
I gotta think about it, honestly.
I'm getting that vibe from you.
I too like the scene where they show the tanks moving up to the forest, where the anti-tank ambush is waiting for them.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
While I find it highly improbable and unlikely that everyone just had fucking main character armor. Everyone was just so bad at shooting the American tanks. Oh, don't worry, it was deflected. Like, every fucking timer just fucking whizzes by. It's like, dude, these Nazis are fucking incompetent, or it's just main character armor. But other than that, I liked watching them creep behind the tank in formation. I also enjoyed the shot choice of that scene particularly.
Yeah, and apparently that's like a relatively reasonable estimate of how a tank battle might have gone. Obviously, this isn't based on a true story or anything, but apparently they really did
the creeping
like
hide behind the tanks.
Stuff.
Yeah, they're basically mobile forts that are horses.
Yeah,
kind of in a weird way. I really, really like the scene where they go into the house after taking the city. Brad Pitt and the now kind of like baptized by fire, what's his name,
Logan Lerman have that kind of like quiet moment with the wife and the daughter. That was kind of nice, although there are a few issues I take with it. They're young and alive. Come on.
Oh man. See, I like that you were able to watch this with a smile and just like, this was in the way that I probably enjoy Speed Racer. I think that you enjoy Fury.
Yeah, it was more of a goof and a spoof.
Oh man, see, I wish I would have seen it like that. But even that would have made this 10 times better.
Okay, here's my reason for why. I'm gonna go back to what you liked in a sec. But here's why I watched it as kind of a goof and a spoof. The first scene is so egregiously, unnecessarily violent that you immediately are like, oh, this thing is going to be super intense. The next scene after that, when they're literally just talking to each other in the tank, you're like, oh, it's going to be physically intense, but the dialogue's going to be horrible. And you immediately are like, okay, I know what I'm in for. And you just like, sit back, relax.
I guess I wasn't thinking of the future. I was thinking of the present when I was hearing that. Like, I was like, oh no. All I was thinking was like, man. I hope this gets better. And then it didn't.
Nope.
Yeah. See, okay, so... I should have watched it a second time, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I liked... I don't know. I think it was a decent waste of 2 hours. Like,
sure.
It was a nice time filler. I would not watch it again. I don't know, man. I did not like this movie.
There's not a lot else you want to say that you liked.
If I was trying to like this as a troll, I would I would quotations, love the performance of Michael Pena, Shia LaBeouf, and that other big stupid fucking cartoon character guy, John Byrne.
Punisher.
The Punisher. I would have really enjoyed. This would have, in the in the what could have been sense. I would have really enjoyed the fact that the lady who Logan Lerman just had sex with is magically on top of the pile of rubble. After the whole fucking building goes down, she's on the very top of the rubble, just so conveniently.
Man. I was like, what another great lesson for him about having feelings for things.
Yeah.
When he first shoots the German soldier and he's like laying there all terrified, I was like, that'll teach him to have feelings for things. And then the lady dies. I was like, that'll really teach him to have feelings for things.
I would have liked Michael Pena's stupid fucking lecture, his fucking 5 minutes on the soapbox about horses, killing horses, cabroni, in the hot summer heat, cabroni. Like, oh my fucking god. I would have loved that if I was watching it under those goggles. I would have loved... God. It doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, there's a lot of them just talking the whole movie. Like, unfortunately, I think like 70% of the movie is them talking, unfortunately. So,
Damn.
I would have loved 70% of this movie if I would have been ready to love their terrible acting and the terrible writing. I don't know. I honestly... I cannot say anything good about this fucking film. Paul, what didn't work for you in your 2017 Best Movie Award nominee?
Let me just tell you about the last battle scene.
Oh.
And all of the shit that I hated about that one. That one, to me, was a bad battle scene.
You didn't like how the Nazis got marched in like Orcais with their fucking like Nazi songs?
Did you like how the smoke was so thick and the contrast so high that the Nazis were literally just silhouettes in the night? And then everyone in the tank, despite it being nighttime and them having no lights on, was perfectly exposed.
Oh yeah. And how like it magically went from like perfect daytime to like all of a sudden complete darkness. With,
yeah. And the fact that like these Nazis, when you see them, they're marching fast. And yet Logan Lerman can run back. They have like a couple hours, it looks like, of prep time. Maybe it was a lot condensed, I don't know. It looks like they prepped for a long time, whereas I feel like the Nazis would have been there by now. Especially if Logan Lerman waited for them to pass and then ran back. You know, like, did the road they were on curve like around the town and then come back?
No. Yeah, I know. You didn't love that?
No, that last battle scene I thought was pretty bad. I did like watching all of the crew members die, though. That was a delight.
That was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, other than that, I was able to have fun with most of the scenes. I think, man, it was not a good movie, but I had fun watching it.
I can really appreciate you appreciating the movie for that reason. Because when I was, like I said, like a dumb asshole teenager, I loved going to see really bad movies at the $2 theater and just laughing at them the whole run of the movie.
Oh, man.
Me and Tyler. Because, they were never movies anyone would ever want to see normally. And for $2, you just say, why not? Let's kill 2 hours or an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And just laugh at terrible movies.
And you know what bothers me about the terribleness of this movie?
It was so highly rated. It's like...
Well, that is definitely one thing. The other one, though, is that he's written Training Day, End of Watch, U-571, and yet Fury and Suicide Squad had these incredibly, bad... What I can only assume is just bad scripts.
I never saw any of those movies you just mentioned, except for
You haven't seen Training
Squad.
Day?
No.
Oh,
wait, which one is Training Day? Is that the one with Brad Pitt?
That's the one where Denzel Washington takes some dude played by Ethan Hawke, who is a rookie, out on a ride-along and shows him how corrupt of a cop he is.
Oh no, never seen it.
Oh, well. It's a pretty good one.
Mm.
But anyways, he's written some good movies, and yet these two scripts have seemed incredibly clunky and heavy-handed.
I would be really curious to see Training Day now, because he's 2 for 2 for me of just complete bullshit.
Damn, yeah. I would love to have you watch Training Day, for sure.
Mm.
The problem is that this guy wrote The Fast and the Furious also, which has turned into one of the biggest franchises
Maybe that's
in
just
the
like the
world right
style
now.
now. It's like the writing style he affects is just like, oh, this sells. Big dumb
Yeah,
dialogue.
exactly. And the fact that he's sold that and it became such a big thing, I would assume would mean that he has carte blanche to do whatever he wants in Hollywood at the moment. But I couldn't say that for sure. That's just a suspicion I have.
What else did you not love to death in this movie?
So there was that battle scene at the very end, which ironically took up a good portion of the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I was going to
which,
say.
even for a movie like this, is a little bit too long of a battle scene. Like I said, I didn't like the first bit of dialogue where you introduce all the characters, just because you can tell. I mean, I laughed at it and I had fun with it, but like the thing that sucks is that you can immediately check out and like write off a lot of the movie. I mean, at least I wrote off a lot of the movie because of the fact that the dialogue was so bad in that scene. What I mean to say is, like, I wrote it off immediately. Like, I heard some of the dialogue in that scene, and I was like, oh, don't have to take anything in this movie seriously anymore, and it's over. So, you know, that kind of ruins a movie-going experience for me. I guess there's not really a lot else besides the dialogue and, like, some of the very caricaturish characterization. Like, the characters could have been about 1,000 times more subtle, in my opinion.
I would agree with you.
But other than that, I mean, it's a movie. It was fun when I stopped taking it seriously, because I would just be like, oh, look at that crazy headshot. Oh, like, it was just about, like, the audio and the visual for me at that point. And obviously that one scene with Brad Pitt and Logan Lerman in the apartment was really well done. But, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't call this the cinematic equivalent of a page turner, that's for sure. Edge of my seat, that's the phrase I'm looking for.
A cinematic page turner.
I wouldn't say this is a edge of my seat type of movie.
You can't read a newspaper or a book while all the fucking like bullets or and explosion sounds are going on in the movie.
Yeah.
It's too distracting. You couldn't concentrate.
True that.
Not a page turner.
That. Not a page turner.
Dallas Buyers Club, on the other hand, that's a page turner.
Oh, yeah. Would you recommend this movie, Anson?
Wait, I didn't say what I didn't like about it.
Oh, I thought you just said like a huge thing about what you didn't like.
Oh,
or was that what you did like and you turned that into what you didn't like?
That was a backhanded what I did like.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I totally thought that was what you didn't like. Alright, tell me what you didn't like.
It's just so tonally inconsistent. It's a huge mess. So one of my biggest issues with The Green Mile was... The Green Mile? Is that the one with like the black guy with like the magic touch who can heal people?
Yeah, Black Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is such a tonally inconsistent movie. I saw it for the first time recently, like maybe a month ago, and I just could not believe how much accolades it got. I was like, this is just a fucking mess. I don't understand.
People definitely love it.
This is the same way, where like the dialogue is clunky, the characters are stupid and cartoonish, and again, the tonal inconsistencies is just so bad. And I'll point out, like, one, they talk about this is the horrors of war, right? They're trying to make it a point that like real war is bloody, and you know,
real war is brutal, blah 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 blah.
The quote unquote heroes are actually very violent and like sometimes just really huge assholes. But at the same time, glorifying the violence and glorifying their assholiness.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's a borderline jingoist film.
Oh, it's 100%. And then
Teddy Roosevelt. This would have been Teddy Roosevelt's favorite film until his son died.
They say, look at how bad the Americans are, but wait a second, these Nazis are such barbarians. This is what happens with like Nazis who refuse to fight. We're gonna hang our own people and make examples of them on the street. Blah 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 blah. We're gonna kill our own people. We're gonna like literally be portrayed as orc, like marching to like orc music and orc drums. Like the only thing they were missing was the while they were fucking peaking my audio while fucking marching, because it was the exact same shot. It could have been like taken from a fucking Lord of the Rings scene, and they could have had like spears.
It was so egregiously like, this is the baddies.
Yeah. I gotta like move my mic away for this. They could have been like in front of the tank, like, oh, like fucking orcs in a fucking storm, because essentially what they were just fucking big stupid Lord of the Rings characters. They try to, even in the scene where like he like takes his little war bride, they share that moment and all of a sudden she wants to drop her panties for him.
Yeah.
That was a really weird, inconsistent thing. It was like glorifying.
I didn't like that part of it.
Yeah, we're a great hero, see? And he's so sentimental and caring that she's gonna just fuck him cuz, you know?
Yeah. Oh my god.
That didn't really make sense.
Nope, not at all.
If they were supposed to try to like show like yes they can share a moment, then they have like what's his name, big dumb asshole John Bernthal come in and like
the Punisher.
Yeah, totally just like be a huge dick and be like, I'm just a horrible animal. You should be a horrible animal too. Don't get emotionally attached. Then he dies, and it kind of reinforces like it's like that's a whole nother message of like what were we trying to go for here, right? Was it supposed to be like humanize the Germans, but at the same time just like they're just fucking, you know, like expendable fodder, and at the same time just terrible people too. Like
they're just orcs for the meat grinder.
They're orcs. They're just fucking orcs. Even Gollum was a dirty orc, even though he was a hobbit once.
Okay, it's funny that you mention this because I am in no way like this has nothing to do with the Nazi ideology. I prefer when a movie is able to humanize both sides to make people understand like, listen, the people at the top, the brass as it were, they might have had some ideology or some, you know, crazy goal that they were working towards with their war aims.
Mm-hmm.
But the people actually on the ground fighting are oftentimes these scared fucking kids who have no beef with each other, and they're just human beings that are terrified shitting their pants.
There were some really touching stories coming out of World War One where this happened, where like
exactly, like why can't we show this side of war as well?
They would get out of the trenches and like have Christmas together because they're like, look, we don't want to fight you and you don't want to really fight us on this day where we're not fighting. Here, come over and have some of our soup. Come on over and have some of our bread. And they actually like on the field, no one cared. They all liked that, right? But the top brass were like, fuck that. They're your enemies. You have to kill them no matter what. And they didn't
let them do it the next year.
Yes, correct. And they have that moment in Band of Brothers where like they have the Christmas ceasefire and then they come up over like past the forest like, hey guys, Merry Christmas, you know, and like they're not like doing it for any like evil reason. They're not doing it to spy and check out their lines. They're just like legit, just like, you know, here's a gift. Let's sing some songs. Good night. Enjoy your night. That's a really interesting way to humanize them. That's a true story. Yeah. Or in this case, they're just damn dirty orcs. Sorry, I cut you off, but is that what you're trying to go for?
Yeah, that is what I'm trying to go for. It's like, I realize like the Nazi ideology is not one I agree with and is manifested itself in a lot of evil ways along the years, but like this movie was so jingoistic that it couldn't even humanize a group of people that by all accounts probably had an equal to every member of this cast. They probably had a tank commander who was hardened and who hated the other side at that point. They probably had a new guy who had never gotten to, see battle before and he's scared shitless.
But Paul, they're damn dirty orcs.
Yeah, exactly. I can't stand jingoism in general, but in movies it comes off borderline propagandic, I guess.
Borderline? Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's pretty much like
this
reinforcing of the myth that, hey, no matter what we do, we are the good guys. And that you know...
That's exactly what that is. That's exactly what that says. Because no matter how brutal we are depicted in this movie, we are justice.
We had a reason, so it was okay.
Mm-hmm. We're fighting orcs.
Yeah, we're not fighting human beings. We're fighting, these... faceless monsters. Faceless silhouettes against the orange smoke.
They were created in the mud of Saruman's volcano, and they came out marching. Anyway, again with the tonal inconsistencies, where in the beginning they have a Saving Private Ryan moment with the Logan Lerman guy, when he doesn't shoot the kid with the bazooka or something or whatever, and that causes like a whole tank to die. Like the general or whoever's in charge to die. And he's like, "This is what you get for not shooting somebody." He's like, "I didn't want to kill him. He was young." It's like, doesn't matter if this fucking young. Like, this is what happens. You fucking shoot on sight, and then he learns to like shoot on sight, kind of. And at the end, he has his own moment when he's under the tank, and the Nazi sees him under the tank, and he's just like shaking his head like, "No, don't say anything, bro." And he's like, "Okay, I'll just let you go." And it's like, what? So
Yeah.
was that stupid of the Nazi to let him go? Because then he's gonna have a Saving Private Ryan moment of his own, and then kill a whole bunch of more Nazis, or is that also like Nazis are human? That message is so crossed, right? Like he needed to survive for the sake of plot armor for him to be a quote unquote hero.
Yeah.
And for you to say, no, he wasn't the hero. His tank team was the hero, right? Like,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here. That was hella stupid. I hated John Bentel's character more than I hated Michael Pena's character. But they were obviously making the Punisher out to be like just this irredeemable asshole, this complete dick, right? And his dialogue reflects it as such. Michael Pena, on the other hand, was just like a weird Mexican. Like,
It was a very flat character.
Shia LaBeouf was like the "I believe in Jesus Christ, He saved us this day" guy. Like, fine, that works. I know you're a cartoon character, and that's fine. But Michael Pena literally was nothing. That didn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I've seen enough war movies and like war reels of like artillery bombardments, tank battles from like the History Channel, and played enough video games to be completely desensitized to like not only the beauty of the, like you said, the soundcraft and the shot choice, but like the tactics involved in that sort of thing.
See, I've never watched any of the real stuff. I would love to do that because I feel like I'm at a peak fascination with like military history right now in my life.
I was
so I'll have
blessed,
to
I
try
guess.
and seek some of that out. But that's probably why I was charmed by this movie's action scenes, is just because like I listen to a lot of podcasts about history and I try to read about it a lot, but I don't really have that visual reference anywhere in my life.
As a kid, I watched so much World War II stuff because I always had the History Channel on.
Yeah.
Well, I had Nickelodeon Cartoon Network and the History Channel on.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, so I had a lot of exposure to that growing up, and I was always fascinated by it. Have you seen Band of Brothers?
That's actually one series I have not seen yet,
Okay.
but I did just get HBO now, so I'm going to have to watch it soon here.
If you like this for the shot choice and the tactics and the sound design, you're going to fall head over heels in love with Band of Brothers.
Hell yeah.
I don't think the Pacific one was worth watching. I was really disappointed in that. But the Germany European theater was just outstanding. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. Like, if you think you've seen a war movie that's good of World War II, go get the fuck up and go find a copy. I don't even know how you do this, of Band of Brothers, and
You got it.
and just sit in awe. The first two episodes are a little slow. It starts in training, but holy shit, it's like true stories too, because they begin every
Damn.
episode. It's like, they're mini movies. Each episode's a movie with like
I'm
the
definitely
actual
into that.
with interviews of the actual survivors or the actual members of the Band of Brothers talking about like, yeah, so then we came here and oh holy fuck, in their old
Oh,
nanny.
damn.
Yes, it's crazy. It's legit.
That sounds
insane.
fucking crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You'll love it.
Damn. Alrighty, well, I'll have to check that out for sure.
Yeah, I guess that's about all the shit that I hated, but I really, really, really despise this movie.
Alright, that being said, would you recommend the movie that you despise?
Nope, but I would recommend Inglourious Basterds if you want to see gratuitous violence in a war movie in World War II, or to see the depiction of humanized Nazis, or the brutality of the Americans.
Yep.
Paul, would you recommend Furry?
I mean, probably not. Not on my top war movies for sure. No.
What do you think this could have been improved, Paul?
Rewrite the fucking dialogue, make the characters more subtle, dude.
Do you think there was something here? I think there was something here. I think...
Oh, for sure there was something here. There's a lot of things, like little nuggets of things, but I just...
That's what's so disappointing, because I think there was I think the people working on it had a good sense of, like I said, in how to portray the shots, the tactics, and that sort of thing. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it just needed a better script, honestly.
Yep, I agree.
keep all the shots, keep all the scenes. Even I don't care.
Yeah.
It could have been a very good movie, even with like the jingoistic. It's like American Sniper is very jingoistic too, you know, but it's still a good
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, exactly.
This could have been like American Sniper.
Yeah, but it was just not.
It was just trash. This is a cartoon, a bad
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yep. A tough to watch, but, fun at times. All
Yeah.
right, well, I guess we will see y'all next time.
Who I have been, Anson Chan.
I'm Paul Morgan.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.